It's a rare condition, it's called AIDS. When Magic Johnson got it, we all thought he was gay. If there is a cure, it'd be from God's design. Some people say it's even harder to find. Well, then there must be some magic cure inside those deep state walls. Cause all I see are medical fees. My whole family's victim to HIV. We relive horrible times, but make hilarious memories. We're consciously monetizing our traumas and our friendship. We also talk about smart guy stuff sometimes. We know the show's got a stupid name. Welcome to Always Very Always. Man, I remember one day, this is probably the most turned on I've been in quite some time, when I went to Walgreens and I saw...
Hello?
What?
Hello? Why you just start a sentence off like that? Rewind. Say that again, but this time I want you to be self-conscious while you say it.
This is the most turned on, that I've been in a long
my
time.
My Wozy was really big that day.
Well, I mean, I didn't say nothing about a boat. It was mental. It was intellectual turned on.
Okay. I'm listening.
Yeah, I saw a woman basically wearing like she was dressed like a ninja without like the head covered up, and she had like a ninja like.
Mark, that's a really strange way to speak about Muslim women, and I don't think that's cool, bro.
No, she didn't have the head thing on. She was not a Muslim.
Oh,
I mean, she may have been, but not that type that covers their head or whatnot.
But how was she dressed? You said she had basically ninja attire on?
Yeah, she had like a ninja footwear. The way the ninja pants at the bottom, like sort of cuff off.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, damn, that's hot.
Mark's fantasy is to date a ninja woman.
Wow. I never thought about it before then. I really haven't thought about it since then. But
man, it's like the awakening, bro. Every kid has their awakening, man.
Yeah, it was me, 22 years old, in a Walgreens with my last $5 trying to buy a bag of chicken nuggets to make it to the next paycheck.
Oh my Lord, dude.
It's like that
Don't get me started, bro. The 7th and the 16th, bro. Be waiting on those days.
See, mine wasn't a 7 and 16th thing. It was every time it was like 5 business days, I think. Every time I turned in my work, I got $200 waiting for me.
$200 every 5 days.
But I got paid so let's say Monday through Friday, I turned in work every single day. I would make $1,000, but I would get it 5 days after each of those days. So the next Monday I would get paid, next Tuesday, next one. So like every day, every weekday I'm getting paid $200. That's the job I had a year ago.
$200 is a lot of money to be making in a day, though.
Yeah. I busted my ass at that job to make that money. Cause it was
dude, that's good money.
It was purely performance based, but the sad thing about it, I couldn't keep the job because it was a finite project.
What was this you were doing?
I was editing those
the YouTube videos?
No, the car salesman educational videos.
Oh wow.
And they were
bro, 200 a day.
It's probably the best job I'll probably ever get in quite some time.
$1,000 a week?
You
could have kept that job, really.
I mean, there's no more work to do, so it was done with after like 6 months. But there was like a nice, like at the beginning when I hit my stride, there was like a 3-week stretch where I made $3,000, and I was like, hell yeah! And then my computer broke. So
man, when I tell you I ain't even had that much money in my bank account at one time.
But
it's so expensive being broke, man. It's so expensive being broke. Wait, am I a rapper? Hold on.
It's hard to. It's very expensive to be broke because you got to pay the crack bill.
Dude, I gotta pay an hour and 30 minutes every time I want to go somewhere. That's my toll. Either that or $20.
When are you gonna learn how to drive?
I know how to drive. I don't have a car, genius.
Oh.
I'm poor. I'm poor. We got 3 working adults in my family. We got 1 car. You get me? My mom my mom works at the Ostner in West Jeff. She need the car. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Keith, he got a work van because he drives like deliveries and stuff. Me, I got a skateboard.
Yeah. I applied for probably like 80 jobs in the past 3 days. And it's really, all these, I find so annoying is that none of these jobs, they're like, no remote positions available. Fuck you for not wanting to spend all this money trying to go to work. And it's like, it's they're getting really aggressive about it, but it's purely for them to justify them renting office space. And it's fucking, don't pass it on to me. You know,
because basically they have to rent it no matter what, so they want you to use it.
Yeah,
because they're gonna need it. You know what I'm saying? You got to have a base of operations.
Yeah, it's fucking annoying. But if anyone out there want to hire me for video editing,
if anyone out there want to hire me, like, I don't know, like if you're like a hot chick and you like really fit and you want me to like blow your back out on a regular or something, I got you.
Come on, man, you can't be commoditizing black bodies to yourself over here.
If you need like a really big hug, I've been needing a hug for a minute, bro. So I'm with you on that one. Whoever out there need a hug, me too.
I remember my mother telling me there's like an app that you could pay someone to hug you and spoon you for an hour.
Yes,
that's fucking stupid. Honestly,
make a lot
bro,
of money too.
That's fucking gay, bro.
Professional cuddlers make a lot of money, Mark.
That's gross.
How is it gross?
To get hugged by a stranger?
Skinship.
Skinship? What does that mean?
Like friendship? Skinship.
I don't need none of that skinship. Unless we're talking about foreskinship and we're in a bathhouse situation.
Nah, that's
let
different.
bros be bros. But skinship, that's not
us.
It's already shameful enough to pay for sex. It's even more shameful to pay for basic human affection.
Is it actually? Why is it more shameful than paying for sex?
I guess you're right.
Why is it? Yeah, why is it any more painful?
Because I guess maybe I'm just.
Man, I be watching commercials. Like, look at that guy. I should be in a Crest commercial. That dude literally just looks like me.
Yeah, but he's like a 1 in 1,000 chance. There's probably 1,000 guys that look like that.
That's what I'm saying, bro. I be looking at these regular ass people in these commercials. I'm like, man, why aren't I in these commercials? I've been thinking maybe I should become a stuntman, bro. That might work out for me.
You gotta go to stuntman school.
I mean, what I was thinking is I already know how to climb. I know how to skateboard. I can jump really fucking high.
I mean, you just say you were worrying about those aches and pains when you turn 30. Like that's.
But if I could catch a few bags on the way,
it's not gonna be heavy bags. They're gonna be medium-sized bags.
No, you know what's funny? As I've been thinking about a lot. I don't need that much money, dude. Until I get acquainted with a delusional woman who I really like, I'm not gonna need that much money. You know what I'm saying?
Once I marry my CIA fucking the person who's trying to honey trap me for some reason to get me to do a terrorist attack.
I remember when you first told me about honey potting or honey trapping, bro. I was like, what? That's so ridiculous.
Yeah, I was reading recently about how exactly the CIA gets regular citizens, like try to convince them to do terrorist stuff. They do that. They try to have real relationships with them. And then like, yeah, how about we try to establish the caliphate or whatever? How about that as well? You get married later.
When you hear about like the declassified stuff that the CIA got after back in the day, it really lets you know like, man, what are they
not back in the day right now.
I was about to say, what are they up to now today? If that's what they was doing yesterday. 4 yesterdays ago, they admitted to spilling crack on the ground and saying, get you some.
If 60 years ago they killed the president, what are they doing now?
Right now today, while Donald Trump, well, not while, but like a few years back.
It does feel like Donald Trump is still president.
It does, actually. Yeah. But I'm like, yeah, dude. It's funny because Joe Biden has done a lot of practical, like, practically, what do you call that? Impactful things in his short time in office so far.
Like what?
The student loan forgiveness. We're talking billions of dollars he's put towards. Like,
yeah.
Like that was a very.
Apparently, we do qualify. I know this is like 2 months ago when we brought this up on the podcast, but apparently we do qualify because it's Pell Grant recipients as well.
Oh wow, cool. Well, I've been getting phone calls, bro, but I didn't trust it.
I mean, those probably are scam phone calls.
Yeah, I mean, I get tons of them, no matter what.
He pulled out of Afghanistan, right? I mean, that had to happen at some point.
Yeah, he's like, I mean, that is honestly, Joe Biden been doing a pretty solid job from my perspective. He also he signed the bill to try and help decrease inflation and everything. He's been helping us manage the gas prices. Joe Biden hasn't been doing so bad. Well, let's keep it real. Joe Biden's team that has him puppeteering has not been doing a bad job.
I mean, it's all graded on the fucking American scale. They're not doing good.
Yeah.
They're not doing good. They did the bare minimum for the society not to fall apart, and it's still not doing too great. But if I was the president, none of this Ukraine shit would have happened. The war wouldn't happen in the first place. I would have pulled out of NATO. This is the type of shit that would get you assassinated by the CIA, by the way.
Seeing all this,
having them thinking that you have the honest intention to do something that's against the U.S. imperial interest. Mm-hmm. That's why they killed JFK. They thought he was going to pull out of Vietnam in the early 60s. So they had to,
So who is the CIA's allegiance to at this point?
If you're like a regular CIA agent, this is whoever's your like the equivalent of your commanding officer. It's your boss. It's
who is the CIA as an authority?
Like
who is the CIA in allegiance to?
American empire, their own like general self interest. The whole idea of America being the decider in the world, like that's at the highest level. Yeah. They're dedicated to that.
They're dedicated to maintaining America's force over the world.
Yes.
Okay.
So everyone under them, they might think that they're good people. They might not view it the way it is because
they're getting it done for them anyway.
Yes, because they're loyal to the chain of command in the same way a soldier is. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's how you can get.
Shout out to Gears of War, bro. We're all cogs.
Yeah, we're all cogs. But the question is, will you have a sweet getting chainsaw in half death? If I was like sweet, that ruled.
Sweet.
That's like, sometimes I view things like, I think that's how the Vikings must have thought. I want to be eviscerated before I go.
Amen. To Valhalla, as they say.
Yeah, that's how they said. They said in an Italian accent just like that. To Valhalla.
You know what, bro? Recently, I've been like singing in Italian and Spanish. And I guess as I code switched the languages, I did not quite have the right accent there, bro. I was stuck in my freaking Cali Uchis Spanish jazz music. So, you know what I'm saying? Valhalla. To Valhalla. That was not even intentional.
I don't even know how they would. I don't know what the people would be sounding.
What
the fuck are we talking about? Oh yeah, so these midterms are coming up. I feel like these midterms been coming up for like 2 years.
The midterm elections?
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about midterm exams for a second.
Oh no, I took some of mine already. Mm-hmm. Got an A.
Nice job.
And I got another one coming up next week. And
dude, I missed my first test, and our lowest test grade gets dropped, but it's at the end of the semester. So my class grade is like unnecessarily way lower than it actually is on my.
You can't be looking at that. You can't be looking at your grades.
It's never good, right?
That's not. It's just like, why stress yourself out?
I mean, I'm not stressed. I got 100, a 95, and in reality, an 88. So I'm good.
Like the way looking at your grades, like how that changes your behavior is like the same way when you see a camera or a microphone. It changes your behavior. You wouldn't normally act that way. The way I feel, I normally wouldn't study, but now since I'm looking at my grades, I kind of half-ass study. But like that's a waste of my time. Mark, the honest, true Mark Anthony Davis, doesn't study. He just takes tests. It fails, pass, whatever. And that's how I should be judged.
I like how most people who like confidently say they don't study, like me, for instance, I don't study. But I'm the type that I'm getting A's on my test. I like the way you say I don't study, Pass, fail. Who knows? We'll see when we can walk into the classroom whether I have any clue what's on that test or not. Do you not pay attention in class and don't study? Because that's wild.
I probably
You gotta pick a struggle. I feel like my struggle is I don't like study / do homework, but I pay attention in class and I get A's on every test. You on the other hand, it sounds like you like.
Mind conf is
My lord, dude.
I stopped. I probably stopped paying attention to class like in 2016. Because like, what's the point? Honestly, the last time I probably paid attention to class was Mr. Moorhead's class.
The point to me is I'm gonna be there no matter what. So if I'm there, I'll pay attention.
Nah, I
college
could.
classes, for instance, I do skip a lot. Like for instance, Fridays, one of my classes I don't have a class. The other one is from 9 to 9:50. So why would I wake up at 7 o'clock to get on the bus to get to school at 9 o'clock, just so I can what's good?
No, you're good.
So why would I wake up at 7 o'clock, 6:30 if I want to actually be dressed appropriately? To get on the bus at 7:30, to get to school at 9 o'clock, to leave at 9:50, to get back on the bus at 10:30, to get back home at 12 o'clock. I don't know if you counted up the hours right there, but it was like 4 or 5. It's just spent wasting time. And it's like, so that's my version of not paying attention in class. It's like, if you're not going to pay attention, then just don't go, honestly.
I mean,
And it's funny, bro. I woke up from the Matrix like halfway through high school in senior year. Like the first day that I just like straight up didn't go to school and nothing happened, I was like, wait, we could just skip class. I could have been skipping class this whole time. Nothing's gonna happen.
some of the classes they do take attendance into your grade, but who gives a fuck, honestly.
Yeah, bro.
I remember like skipping for like 2 weeks in a row, living on UL's campus, just skipping class. Mm-hmm. It's just like, what?
Well, in college, it gets to the point where it literally doesn't matter. Like
Yeah.
many classes, they deliberately don't take attendance.
Yeah.
Like my chemistry teacher, she takes attendance, but it doesn't count towards that grade at all. She says she just has to report it to the school or whatever. And like, okay, you can tell the school that I went to like 5 classes this semester and got an A on every test. And then, you know, I don't know how that reflects on you as an instructor or me as a student, but as long as I get my A on my transcript, I'm cool.
Apparently, and this fucked me up before, like a year or so ago, is that if you don't attend any of your classes for the first 2 weeks, you don't get your financial aid.
Yeah, because you're not going to school, dickhead.
Well, I was going to school this March.
Not you, but I'm saying if that happened, like you're not going.
I just thought that was like, I got so frustrated because it's like,
That's just like a countermeasure against fraud, I'd imagine.
I'm trying to run a scam. Let a brother run a scam. I thought this was a historically blazing college.
Man, it's funny, bro. I remember the dude was one of my Uber drivers. As I'm riding the Delgado, was telling me, man, Delgado used to be popping back in the day. Delgado was the spot to be. They used to have all the coolest dances at Delgado. All the flyest players and hottest honeys was out there.
Like a radio host.
Yeah, no lie, dude. And I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, they used to have all the dances at Delgado. Like that was like the spot. He's like, they still. He said like out of nowhere. He's like, is the calf still called such and such? He's like, we used to be in there. I'm like, damn, bro, y'all was like living it up. Or when people be telling you about how the East was back in the day.
Yeah.
We used to have a movie theater right here. We used to have a mall. Now we got a shooting here, a killing there, a drug dealer there. You know what I'm saying? It's just a whole different thing.
It used to be more prosperous back in the day. And then, that brain drain. People were like thinking, wait, if every 2 years we're going to have an apocalyptic hurricane, maybe I shouldn't live here.
Oh, bro, they blame George Bush for that too.
They blamed him for the recovery,
yeah.
and all that. 3 weeks? 3 weeks? I'm sitting over here swimming around like it's the fucking city of Venice for 3 weeks?
And I was in the Superdome for a while. I told you that, huh?
Yeah.
Like,
that's horrific.
But to be real, they did pull up in amphibious vehicles and save us. Like, no lie. That's literally what happened for me and my family.
Mm-hmm. Where were y'all brought? Oh, from your house, you mean, and brought to the Superdome?
We fled our house and went to this. I think it was the St. Bernard projects. Basically, one of our friends stayed in the projects, and they were on like the 2nd or 3rd floor. And we was just up there, Vienna sausage, tuna, bread, cookies, chips.
That's a normal New Orleans East diet.
I know, right? But basically, we was up in the projects, and it was flooded to the point where you could not even like leave the second floor, like extremely high waters. And, like I'm looking out the window, seeing like all manner of shit as I was looking out that window, bro. I still remember to this day from my little 5-year-old eyes. 2005, right?
5 or 6,
7, 8, 10, 4 maybe.
I was 7. I was a grown man.
But I remember that, bro. I remember that through those little eyes, what I saw floating in the waters. If you get me right.
Cats and dogs, bodies and bogs.
All sorts of things. All sorts of things. I saw all sorts of things going on out the windows.
Guns, funds, honey buns.
All sorts of things, man. All sorts of things. But yeah, I remember. And when they showed up, you know, the Lily they was in their suits, bro. They green suits. It was a large black. It was like an Amtrak or Battlefield, bro. No lie. I'm not gonna lie. It was cool to ride in.
Every.
It was kind of sad though when I got off and I realized this is where we're going.
Yeah.
Superdome was crazy.
Were
bro.
you
people trying to steal rations from each other and shit? We don't need to get into all that.
Were you there when the Laura Bush, I think it was whatever her name's, George Bush's wife, gave a speech, and the basic sentiment of her speech was like this, y'all used to these conditions, so y'all gonna be all right.
At the Superdome.
Yeah, at the Superdome. She gave a speech at the Superdome.
I don't know, but I know I was there for a while, all the way till mass evacuations. I was in Texas sleeping on a cot at one point. I remember that's one of my only fond memories of that is you know, my mom literally did carry us like through the water, on like no funny shit, like me on her back, sister in hand, trudging through the water, just some single black mother shit, bro. You would never see this go on anywhere else in the world, but I do recall that.
Very dangerous.
Yeah. There were no options, bro.
Yeah.
We could have died.
A lot of down power lines. People got electrocuted and stuff just walking through it.
Yeah, we could have definitely died.
Jeez.
There are many instances I can think back on and be like, yeah, could have died there, could have died here, could have died there. Could have been in that house without ever like escaping the water in the projects.
There was I don't know if I ever said it on here, but like the maintenance man, when I moved into the Willows, he was telling us how he had to survive Katrina. In the Willows, you know, it's around your area.
I didn't used to live in there, but before Katrina, I lived in the 6th ward actually. I used to stay on the side. We had a house.
All right. Well, saying though is that we were like talking one day. The maintenance man, my mom, and I was listening. He was talking about how. Yeah, we were just me and my 2 friends. We were just sitting here, chilling, drinking beers and stuff on the front lawn. One thing turned to another. We look on the road on the other side of the interstate. We see this gigantic wave coming over. Yeah, and then we had to hurry up and run inside, get to the 2nd floor, climb out of the window, get on the roof, and get to the top of the roof. Yeah, and he said in the process of doing that, his 2 friends tried to go to their rooms and get whatever, or get their family whatever. Never saw them again, and he was like the only one in that little area of the Willows to survive because everyone else didn't see it coming. He was sitting like near the front of the apartment, so like it was like, damn, just a bunch of people just fucking died.
I won't kid you, bro. Like it was flooded to the point where we were on the 2nd floor, and there's like water on the 2nd floor of the project. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, and my grandfather's villa out in Port Sulphur, you know, it's way down there, so you know they got it rough. A lot of like people on the Weather Channel was saying that Port Sulphur right now is getting DP'd by Katrina, and because it was pretty bad, they're getting like the flood from the river and the hurricane from the top. Yeah. So it was 17 feet. 17 feet.
17.
And
that's like 3 marks. That's like 3 marks almost.
Oh, that's the way to think about it. But yeah, luckily my man, the villa is like all those houses when you go down south down there, they're like the rooms aren't until the 3rd floor, like this big pylons or whatever. So it still got in the room though. But anyways, for Katrina, it was pretty simple. We just went to Texas, and then we lived there for 2 years, and George Bush gave us a house.
What?
Yeah.
In Texas?
Yeah. We lived there for a year, and the only thing I remember about it was playing GTA 3 on the PS2 and my dog choking to death.
In front of you?
Not in front of me. It happened while we were sleeping. He went in the garbage and he ate a chicken bone and just fucking woke up and saw a big, giant, dead dog in the kitchen. And it's like, damn. And we had to bury him. Gave him a proper burial. You know, I don't remember his name, but he was a cool guy. And the other thing I remember about Texas about that time, I was in kindergarten, first grade. And
R.I.P. Mark, good dog.
And there was a 12-year-old student, and I have nothing to say about it. It's just funny to me. It was a 12-year-old in kindergarten.
Was he like mentally impaired?
I guess so, but he didn't seem like he's like a normal guy. But he didn't talk though.
Oh, okay. He might have been like severely autistic or something.
Damn.
But I remember, like I said, we slept on cots for a while in Texas before we like got moved out. I remember getting them introductions, bro. Like, everybody say hi to Dantes. He's from New Orleans. His school's underwater. Everybody say hi, Dantes. They fucking introducing me to the Dallas kids, bro. I remember thinking, I was like, it's such a strange thing when you are moved from your place to somewhere where they like have a completely different dialect.
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn, they actually talk like that in Texas. Like they all.
How the Dantes?
Not to that extent, but like to the point where it's very noticeable that they all speak completely differently from me. You know
See, I'm just a humble 6th grader in the oil business. How about you?
Man, and then I do remember that at one of the relief, I don't know if it was like a camp or like wherever they had it like at before I got into school, they would have like board games and stuff for us, you know what I mean, just to keep us occupied.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I learned how to play chess for the first time. And like I literally just watched them play, and then I was like, I want to try. They're like, well, do you know how the pieces move? I'm like, yeah, I got the idea. You know, I watched, and you know, to the point where I was like beating the adults. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, damn, like that was my. I remember reading what's his name? I don't want to get it wrong. Jose Raul Capablanca, bro, one of the first world chess champions. He had a similar experience. I'm like, damn, bro. As I was reading, I was like, this is just like that time when I was learning how to play chess in Katrina, and I was like beating adults. You never know, bro. Butterfly effect shit. If I never moved to Maryland and got involved with that kind of stuff, maybe I would have been like a black chess prodigy. one of few.
My thing with that, with like moving places, because that fucks you up completely. You for the rest of your life, you'll be asking, what if when you're like your parent, when something makes you move from a city or an environment. Yeah. And for me, that was Cape Girardeau, Missouri. It was the perfect place. Like that completely altered my expectation for humanity. Well, it set the foundation for my expectation for humanity. It was calm. It was nice. Everyone was friendly. It was just diverse enough. I remember one day,
Cape Girardeau,
going to the lake where my father, like fishing the lake to feed us. Met a nice Indian man. He was like telling my dad proverbs and stuff. And I'm like, cool. And it seemed like a peaceful, like a video game, like an RPG village. Know, right? And everything was just pleasurable. And then as soon as I come to New Orleans, we're back to my manipulative fucking ancestors, shitty infrastructure, ugly place, smells like ass. And it's all horrible. And then you get treated badly. You have to see other people get treated badly. One of my first teachers fucking threw a desk at a kid, could have killed him. Other teachers are throwing stuff, they're throwing guns. And then that's when Katrina happens, and I have to go to Texas, and I'm seeing all types of seeing all different manifestations of bad education, because like as Dostoevsky said, all happy families are happy in the same way, and all unhappy families are all unhappy in a different way. Mm-hmm. So yeah, the way the New Orleans education system is bad, the teachers, these public school teachers are brought to their breaking point. Yeah, and just really can't have an opportunity to even teach the kids the shit on the thing. So you have like these schools have extremely low averages because they never had the opportunity to fill out the whole curriculum. You go to Texas, education's bad because they just fill the books up with bullshit.
Oh my Lord.
It's like Especially when like I did a lot of like Marxist research and stuff, like Louisiana textbooks, or like if you go like read a Louisiana textbook, there's not a whole bunch of anti-communism in there. It's mostly just a gap in what we're teaching. Mm-hmm. Texas is like it's written by propagandists for propagandists. Some real FUBU shit.
I mean, hey, we had a little bit of that going on in Louisiana. You know, we went to one of the best schools in the country, right? You understand that, right?
Yeah, I understand that.
What was our sex education like?
What
was our sex education like? It was just like that Texas shit, bro. It was like.
Are you talking about elementary school?
I'm talking about in high school.
I'm talking about elementary school. High school is whatever.
Oh,
high school is whatever.
I was gonna say like we had that same issue with even with like one of the more high performing schools in Louisiana, where because of the legislature, they are not allowed to teach. They have to teach a certain way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but and also another problem because my uncle's a teacher in Texas, and he's like, there's like no special ed teachers in Texas. The reason he makes like damn near six figures being a special ed teacher because he's like the only one in his school. Yeah, it's like, jeez. But
like, did he teach gifted kids or he just did IEPs and everything else?
No, he teaches autistic people, dyslexic people, every learning disability. It's all grouped in.
I was just wondering if he taught gifted kids as well. Because
no, he never did that.
That is considered a disability in some regards.
Yeah, you get bullied for it. So don't be smart to me, fucking 2 + 2 = 4 head ass. Get him.
That reminds me. We're doing like maths for a chemistry class yesterday. And I think it was like 6.8 times 3 over 2, right?
6 times 8 plus 3 over 2?
6.8.
6.8.
6.8 times. It was basically like, it was like stoichiometry. So it was 6.8 times 3 divided by 2. All right, Mark's about to nail this, bro.
I'm a mentad.
Let's see.
I'm almost there.
Okay.
So divided by 2. Okay, we got this.
Come on, bro. Please nail this.
9.7?
Incorrect.
Fuck.
And so basically she writes this on the board, and when she finishes writing it, she's like, so what do y'all think this is? And I'm like, 10.2. I just say the answer. And she's like, and then she writes it on the board, and then all my classmates just start looking at me like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, you know, you ever see the
10.2 head ass.
yeah. And so after class, this guy sits next to me. You know how you're like only acquainted with the one person that sits next to you in class? So I started talking to him at the end of class. He's like, how you doing them questions so fast, bro? I'm like, oh, all you do is you do 6 times 3, it's 18, right? You keep that number in your head. Then you do 8 times 3, which is 24. But you shift the decimal over because it's 0.8, so it's 2.4. The 18 plus 2.4 is 20.4. You divide that by 2, you get 10.2.
Wait, there was adding in that?
Yes.
There's a +2?
What?
It was 6.8 times 3 over 2.
Yeah. You have to add. All I did is, okay, if you don't know what I'm doing in expanding form, it's 6 times 3 plus 3 times 0.8.
Man, fuck that.
And that is mathematically.
Man, fuck that. That's fake. That doesn't exist in the real world. It does not exist.
That's literally how you do it in the real world. And so basically I said that, because he said it like he thought I had like some secret or something, right? You know, like they have like math. And so I told him that, he was like, oh yeah, you just good with them numbers. like he literally asked me, I explained it to him exactly how I did it. And he's like, oh, I was right. You just good with them numbers and shit. You get me, dog?
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, bro. Yeah. But all it is, you remember when they used to have us do that shit? They'd be like, so what is 191 in expanded form? It's 100 plus 90 plus 1. And I bet you, as a kid, you would think to yourself, why the fuck do I need to know that? When is that ever going to be you?
No, 191 is 191. Fuck you. It's not 100 plus 91.
It's 100 plus 90 plus 1.
No.
Okay.
What's Mark Anthony?
But funny.
I'm not legs plus arms plus head plus no. I only exist as a totality.
All right, but here's the funny thing, bro. This is when we talk about the ramification. So if I ask you, what's 191 times 4? You're going to start typing it in the computer. Whereas if you ask me, what's 191 times 4? I'm going to tell you 764.
Wrong. It's 700 plus 60 plus 4.
Get fucked, idiot. Hey, perfect, dude. Perfect. That was a perfect wrap up on that, bro. Wrong. It's 700 plus 60 plus 4. That might be the funniest thing I heard in a minute, bro. But no lie, if you ever want to know the secret to mental math, there you go, right there. It's expanded form and it's having a large working memory.
Yeah. I guess it's basically what everyone does, but just like to be forced to do it that way makes me angry, I guess.
You're not forced though, you know what I'm saying? You never would have to actually know it like that.
I guess so.
Yeah. And like you can, if you memorize certain things, then it's even easier. Like for instance, what is a quarter of 6? 1.5.
Yeah.
If you know that off the top of your head, now anytime you encounter the number 6 divided by 4, you already know what it is.
You know what's odd? I don't know why I'm so slow today, but I do this all the time.
Yeah, I know you're very good at math. That's why I brought it up to you. Yeah.
It's like I could like very frequently I'll have like a set of numbers like 6.75, like 3 6.75s, two 7.25s, and a 7.5.
Mm-hmm. And you know that it all adds up to whatever.
And I know what it always average up to. Mm-hmm. And I always find myself a lot of things that I rate, because I like rate wrestling shows, and I have to average all the ratings I give it into that. So I automatically know, oh, that's 7.13 just from this set of numbers I always see.
Yeah. Or just knowing like 1/8 is 0.125.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like stupid shit like that. If you just internalize it. It's funny. In my psychology class, we did a little interesting exercise where our teacher had us like, what do you call it? Measure our short-term memory. Surprisingly, and like I told you, my memory, I was pretty sure, but this was like empirical evidence, bro, that my short-term memory is actually much larger than the average person's. So it was. I also have a Chinese exchange student in my class. That's important for later. I'm not just bringing that up randomly.
Okay. She's
very smart, as I'm sure you would imagine. Mm-hmm. But so we're doing this. Basically, she just like gives us a list of random words. It was like flower, book, window, pony, like all kind of shit, right? I can't remember them all or what. Mm-hmm. And she just reads them, and she's like, okay, now write down as many as you can from the list. And they had 15 total on the list. The average for human short-term memory is 7 to 9. Now I got 12, and the Chinese chick also got 12. And as she was like asking us like how we remembered it and everything, the reason that I was able to remember more of it is because I remember it all. I remember it all at once. You know what I'm trying to say? Mm-hmm. Like it said book, flower, so I imagine a book with a flower in it. You see what I'm trying to say? Like I don't imagine just the book and then just the flower and then just the window. Like I imagine a book on the ground with a flower inside of it that's like by a window. So I'm only remembering one thing, but that one thing is descriptive of all three in the set.
Yeah. So to remember book, flower, horse, mm-hmm. you're not thinking of them individually. Yeah. Thinking of, a book, flower, horse is a thing. And that's the thing I got to remember.
Yeah. Or I would just remember, like, I wouldn't even remember it at a book, flower, horse. I literally think of the visual image of a horse with like a book on the saddle and like a flower coming out of the book. You see what I'm saying? Like mm-hmm. that simple. And that makes it to where, so it's like, because in reality, it's not like I'm remembering 12 things. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I can remember those 12 things because of the 7 things that I chose to remember. You see what I'm saying? You see mm-hmm. what I mean? And what do you call it?
So this could be taught.
This can for sure be taught. It's not even something you have to learn. It's like if you just think of it in terms of this, you will instantly be better at it. So, but this is not the type of thing that any teacher would ever tell you in school. You see what I mean?
So maybe the key to beating dementia is just like putting like old people's memories in zip files. You know, that's kind of what you're doing.
Almost. And if you could find some kind of like AI and programming to do this, and you can sync that up with the human brain, you know, you never know. Maybe one day we'll have fucking a backup file for our whole memory. You know what I mean?
Oh, well, I mean that's a whole different type of shit. I was just saying as a metaphor.
Yeah. But I was gonna say too something else very wild that I learned in ed psych, because this is educational psychology class. This is why we're dealing with this type of shit. Is that your long-term memory is essentially infinite. There's no limit to how many things you can hold. It's just how many things you can recall.
When I was in psychology freshman year in college, I was like, I raised my hand and I felt like a dunce at the time, even though I said it's in earnest and I think I'm right. How can the brain, any capacity of the brain, be infinite if the only thing in the universe that is infinite is the universe itself?
Well, you were composed of all the same things the universe is.
Nah. Fuck that. Fuck that.
No. I'm spitting right now. Teach. Watch yourself.
Everything in the universe is finite beside the universe is so. And then I didn't, and she was like, she just like froze. And she was like, I don't know. And they moved on. And everyone looked at me like I had a fucking steaming turd in my mouth. Okay, well, I still didn't get my answer.
Lucky for you, Mark, I'm smarter than your teacher. I'll give you a short answer to this. How many neurons do you have in your brain?
Let's say like 200. Just ballpark.
All right, what's the biggest number you can think of off the top of your head?
Let's say 1,000,001 and 2 and 1,000,003. I guess I keep going on. Let's just say 1,000,004.
1,000,004. That's a pretty big number, all right? Mm-hmm. You have trillions of dendrites in your brain. Trillions, Mark. Trillions of neurons. Understand? Mm-hmm. Trillions. Each of these trillions of neurons can interact with any other neuron. So essentially the number of possible connections between them is how many?
It's a trillion times a trillion times.
Many trillions times many trillions times many trillions. Yeah. Because you can also have a connection from this. Basically,
that doesn't sound infinite to me.
Listen to what I'm saying.
Okay.
If one neuron is connected to the other, right? That's one connection. Then the connection of 1 and 2 to 3 is considered separate from 2 and 3. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So 1 to 2 is one distinct connection. 2 to 3 is a distinct connection. 1 to 2 to 3 is a distinct connection. 3 to 2 to 1 is a distinct connection. 2 to 1, that's a distinct connection. 3 to 2. This goes on for trillions and trillions. So like even if, and this is another funny thing, does your brain grow?
Isn't it like it grows and then like it stops pretty early on in life?
Yeah, but the number of connections you can establish between your brain, it never stops, bro. Your brain always is establishing new connections. That's why you would say it's infinite, because there's trillions and trillions and trillions of them. And you can develop more and more and more throughout your life.
Philosophically, I'm against the concept of infinite, I guess.
Okay. Well, mathematically, trillions and trillions and trillions with many connections between each of those numbers, and it being calculated backwards, forwards, across, like in every dimension, it's nowhere near finite. I'll tell you like that.
It sounds a lot. It sounds like a lot. Infinite? Short of infinite, though.
It's pretty close to infinite, but...
But you're basically
it's basically like what do you call it? Watch that y'all word. You know, you can say you and him, but don't say y'all. You know?
Yeah, you may have infinite connections. I'm very finite. It's about.
I mean, when I describe it like that, man, does it just make you think? You know, maybe people could be smarter than we really realize.
Yeah, of course. We're only using only using 95% of our brain or something. That was a movie.
We're only using half of our brain. Okay, what you're talking about is a phenomenon called what is it? Lateralization. It's called lateralization. The left and right hemispheres of your brain control different functions, and they also do activate separately. But most things require both to be activated at the same time. That's a myth. That's
the way I had to explain to me by this guy at the bus. It says like if you have Google Chrome.
I'm literally a college. I'm literally. I literally tell you the name of the phenomena. I explain it pretty accurately to my credit. I'm literally a college. This is why people in psych not getting paid, bro. Because nobody give a fuck what we saying. Anybody can just pontificate about like psych phenomena, and it kind of makes sense, right? Dude. Not the same way somebody could just kind of make shit up about how to build a bridge or anything. That's why people in STEM fields get paid more than us, Mark. Yeah. But go ahead, tell me about this guy. The guy at the bus stop when he was explaining lateralization. You know,
the left brain is like using Google Chrome, and the right brain is like using Firefox.
Left brain is Google Chrome, right brain is Firefox. All right, I'm with you.
Because Google Chrome, after you use it for a couple months, it has like 40 gigs of all this memory that it puts on your hard drive. But you're not using it.
Yeah, you can't access it if you on Firefox.
Yeah, it's like a cache file, you know, and then on Firefox, it has another 40 gigs of cache files you can't use if you're on Chrome. So you got 80 gigs of your 100 gig computer, your 100 gig
but
Chromebook.
You can only access 40 of it from iTunes.
And you also have your Chromebook dual booted on, you got one on the Chrome OS and you have Linux on the other one. Yeah. So that's even more dividing it. So he was like, because he was like an IT guy, so he was pretty smart.
Lie. This dude he's pretty on target with this, no lie, this analogy. Only problem is that the funniest thing about all of this stuff that I'm like saying It's not made up. All of this has been scientifically substantiated. How many neurons do we have in our brain? We can literally go fucking count them. Right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you could go count them, it's finite.
Whether or not the right side of your brain can access the left side's information. Do you think that that's something we can scientifically substantiate? Yes, it is.
We can scientifically disprove it.
And yes, that is the case. Your right brain can interact with the stuff on the left side of the brain. There's connections across. See what I'm trying to say? That's the issue with this analogy.
So that's why like lobotomy works.
Yes, not lobotomy. In particular, what's called a hemispherectomy. Have you ever heard of that?
What's that?
If you have very, very substantial trauma to your head / brain when you're young, they can literally chop off half of your brain.
I thought that's what a lobotomy was.
Yeah, lobotomy is like cutting the brain, but a hemispherectomy in particular is one half of it.
So it keeps you from being like dysfunctional or something?
Mark, you can literally have half of your brain removed, taken out of your head. No more right half of Mark's brain. Just imagine, you only got the left half of your brain. You're a little kid though, right? So you have way higher neuroplasticity. This has been performed on children.
Oh, you can catch up to have like a regular
brain?
Their
left brain, they don't get no more brain. It's gone. There's no way for them to get a right brain. Their left brain does all the same shit that the right side of their brain did. That's a very substantial
holy shit
scientific proof that your left side of your brain, it's on that right side timing if it need to be. You see what I'm saying?
Nice. Wait a second.
There's a little.
If you get your brain cut out when you're young, why they call it a brain stem if you're not going to grow a new one?
Your stem?
Your brain stem.
You still have the stem. You just don't.
But why don't grow a new brain though if it's growing?
I mean, I don't know if her left side would be bigger or what have you, or if it would like be shaped differently. But I know that she was missing the right side of her brain, and she still was a fully functioning person. There's video of her. She was a dancer when she was a kid. And, when they first had the operation, she couldn't walk, she couldn't talk, she couldn't do any of this stuff. She can dance now.
So she's a fully functional.
She can dance, bro. Even she can talk, she can walk, she can dance. I think dancing is a very good thing to bring up because that's like controlled by the right side of your brain, if I remember correctly. And like, she's literally doing stuff like very high order motor functioning skills. It takes a lot of brain power being done with half a brain.
So I got a question here, a little thought experiment. Mm-hmm. I like saying thought experiment even though it's not a thought experiment at all.
Okay, I love that too. I'm a YouTuber. I like saying social experiment when it's essentially like domestic terrorism.
Yeah,
or like prank / social experiment. That's my
yeah. I like slitting people's throat and calling it a prank. I also like enslaving a team of YouTube editors to make my shitty infographics.
Yeah.
But I was gonna say
I like doing pretty much any normal thing. I put in parentheses in the hood, and now it's a social experiment.
I like being a white guy that says the N-word on camera.
I like that. That's like fun for me.
Yeah.
It's like invigorating in a way. But continue.
It activates my erogenous zones. But so the thing I was talking about was that if you had, like, she had to take half her brain out because of some sort of accident.
I think it was because of some sort of fluid in her brain or what have you. Like basically, there's an issue where like removing it would be the safest way to try and prevent her, keep her alive.
So let's say you have no accident, nothing's going wrong. You're just doing it for the heck of it, and you take the right side and you like put it in some sort of like some place to preserve it, hypothetically, and some cryogenic freezer. And this person, the brain is developing, its left side is getting on the right side. So when it turns like 13, we give its right brain back, where it's all this young guy neuroplasticity and all this. Will this be like a super guy? If we get it, basically has like a 1.5 brains.
I mean, I think if I had to guess how that would work, once you take the brain out of their head, it doesn't work anymore. It's just a mound of flesh at that point.
So there's no such thing as like a brain transplant?
No, what I'm saying is once they take their brain out of their head, when they put it back in, it's just going to be a new mass of brain. You know what I'm saying?
It's not going to work with the other half?
The thing about the brain that's making it work is not the fact that it is a brain. It's like all the connections between it and the spinal cord and the neurons and all of the dendrites and all of the connections between the different parts of the brain is what's making it perform so well. So if they remove it, it no longer has those connections. So when they put it back in, it's not like they're gonna just return. It's not like taking a flash drive out, bro.
So but will the neuroplasticity it would be like putting in like a newborn brain on one side?
I don't know. A newborn brain on one side. Okay, so if you had a hemispherectomy, so you only have the left brain, right? We put your right brain back in your head. How are we going to connect it? What's going to connect it to your left brain?
What does it right now?
It's like part of it. It's like connected. It was connected until they cut it off. Once they put it back on, like how are they going to reconnect it? Are they going to like fuse it?
Yeah, fuse it, solder it, whatever. That's not what I'm talking about. But like, it's like,
how are they going to put your brain, your right side of your brain, on the left side? In what way are they going to be connected? If they're not connected, then your left brain is just going to be next to your right brain. It's not actually going to be connected to it. So it's going to have no benefit for you.
My question isn't how the connection will work. Can you reconnect it?
Mm-hmm.
My question is like, does the brain have the possibility to be like reactivated and connected to and like work with
another side?
Like even if like, let's say like you had like some sort of extremely traumatic incident and like let one half of your brain would just go dead, but almost like a coma, it wakes up after a couple months. I know it probably hasn't happened before.
This probably has happened before, to be honest with you. I mean, for instance, in seizures, that like large parts of your brain can like deactivate for a time.
Yeah, and I guess also with a stroke as well.
Mm-hmm. But in both of those instances,
it's still connected.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's why I think of it as separate from taking a piece of your brain out of your head.
Yeah, all this talk about brain is making me hungry to get some brain.
I know, bro. I mean, all this talk about brain is making me wish I had some head.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but that was low-hanging fruit. But look, to finish up that story about the short-term memory and everything, we did a second version of this experiment where you're supposed to you like do a kinesthetic thing and tie with it. So for instance, the words in this instance, it was like clap, blink, wink, squeeze, lean. Like these were all words in it, right? They had 15 words. And she told us, I want you to do the action as you say the word. And overwhelmingly this time, everyone had a higher score. One of the chicks, she had a 13 out of 15 on it. She's like a dancer, which I thought was pretty interesting. Like the dancer in our class, she got a 13 on that one. The first one, she got lower to 7. Funny, right? Or the first one she got like 7. Like basically, the first one she did average on. The second one she like basically had double what you would expect from anybody because she had the kinesthetic association with each thing. And I'm sure she's like honed that skill from like learning choreography and stuff. But basically, on that one,
how'd the Chinese girl do?
I was just about to say, me and the foreign exchange student, she ended up getting an 11 on that one. The first time she got a 12, she got an 11 on the second one. And she was like, it's weird because in Chinese, like she's like, we don't have a word for wink in Chinese. So when you say that, like it's basically like her making a nonsense noise and then winking. You know what I'm saying? Because she's like, we don't have a word for that in Chinese. I've never heard that word before. And she's like, what was this other thing where you like, she's like, where you like grip your eyes? Oh, squint. She's like, I'm like, you talking about squint? She's like, yes, squint. What is this thing? I was like, it's like when you try to see something far away, you like squint. She's like, yeah, we don't have a word for that in Chinese. And so basically, she could not. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's probably like they call blinking half wink, and they call squinting half blinking.
Yeah,
something like that.
Or something like that. But basically, she was saying there's not a word for those two in particular, and because of that, she couldn't establish the connection with it. So she ended up just not being able to remember it, even though she tried. And like she knew the word, she wrote the word down. You know what I'm saying? She can't remember it because she doesn't know the word in English. And it's funny on that one. I got an 11 both times, and you would expect somebody to get a higher score on a kinesthetic one, but because I was already using like, I don't know, a strategy of sorts to remember it in the first place, it was not any difference between that. It was just like me using the same, like the boost that I would get from doing it kinesthetically, I get that same boost just from thinking about it visually.
So was there like another test that's like it's for, like that one favors people who are active in getting those. Has those associations because from like orders. What about for like abused latchkey kids? Like I need to feel the words to do better to memorize it. It's like I need to be kicked, I need to be bit, punched, you know, all types of.
Yeah, like if they said a bunch of words that were used to like denigrate you in your past, you would just remember those inherently better than anyone else.
Yeah, cat of nine tails. Someone calling me a worm, stuff like that.
Like if you were mentally affected by the words, you just have a better grasp on them.
Yeah.
Well, that's been shown to be true. I mean, I don't know if I brought this up, but there's 2 types of ways to try and like move things up in the hierarchy of thinking. Basically, like it's like short-term memory, then it's working memory, then it's long-term memory. And so we have what's called maintenance rehearsal, which is where you essentially just like do it over and over again. think like rote memorization is what most people would call it. Like if I have a word I want to remember, I just say the word over and over again. I use it in my day-to-day speech and everything. And that will help it get further to my implicit memory, which is long term. And then there's elaborative rehearsal is where you make an attachment or a connection, you know, because memory is all about connections. If you make a connection between that thing and something else in your past, you're more likely to remember it. In the way I try and think about it, and look, this is no longer fact. Everything I was saying before that is based on my factual knowledge. Mm-hmm. Now we're stepping into that water where people will start pontificating, you get me? Mm-hmm. But work with me here. The way I would think about it is, let's say I want to remember the number 17. All right. 17 to me, like, no joke. Think about this for a second. 17 to me is 10 plus 7. To you, not really, right? It's fucking 17.
17, it was, I thought of the age of consent in 1917.
See, exactly. You have those connections. Basically, the more connections you have to it, the more likely you are to remember it. You see what I'm saying? So in a math, if we're only thinking mathematically, let's use a better one would be like 64, right? Let's say a guy like me, I know all of multiples of 64. 2, 4, 16, 8, 20, 32, not 24, 32. You see what I'm saying? So if I know all that at the top of my head, I can think about the number 64. Mm-hmm. There's way more connections between, like if we just say 64 is right here in my head, right? At the top of my head. It's connected to multiple other different parts of my brain. So whichever part of my brain I'm using, I might be able to think of 64. You see what I'm saying?
When I hear these numbers, I think of years and objects.
Yeah, and I think this is why, like, for instance, we've noticed you have way better memory for geography, for history, for names, for places than I do. You see what I mean?
So you're better at doing math problems.
But, and this is the funny thing, right? If I apply the same kind of thinking that I have for math, I do good on history stuff. If you were to, but this is what I was going to bring up. No one is told in their math class to apply that type of thinking. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No one is told to do that. But I feel like we should be. And people would probably be better at, like, math specifically is a subject a lot of people are like, oh, I'm bad at math. I'm horrible. I'm not good with numbers.
Yeah.
What the fuck do you mean? How are you not good with numbers?
That's the first language you learn before English.
A number is an abstract thing. How are you bad with it? You see what I'm saying? And like, I feel like if people were encouraged to use a lot of math teachers and like just STEM field teachers in general, they are very like algorithmic thinkers, I guess you would say. Like they think of things very contextually and very like,
or they're the football coach, either one.
Yeah, that too. That's another reason it's horrible. Like math teachers in general are some of the worst, I would say. And like if we were encouraged to think about math linguistically, for instance, I think we would have a much better understanding of it.
Interesting. I feel like this
is something that I would definitely want to like. I don't know how to involve this in my life goals, my aspirations.
Besides just becoming a teacher and making.
Because I definitely don't want to be a fucking teacher, bro.
But move to Texas, you make a lot of money. But you might find it extremely frustrating.
Yeah, and that's why I started off with like want to become a psychiatrist, because I wanted to do research on this sorts of things. You see what I'm saying? But yeah, that's definitely like changing the curriculum to try and like encourage people to think abstractly and in an interdisciplinary way. You know what I'm trying to say? Because there are people I know who have very, very strong linguistic skills. Or for instance, let's bring up the dancing chick. She had average memory, like it was almost double, bro. She had 7 to 13, like that's nearly double the capacity, right? Just by associating the movement with the different things, right? If we had her think about numbers in terms of like beats or rhythm, you know what I mean? Instead of just like these finite, simple things, because numbers are so abstract that we should have these connections between things. You see what I mean? It's like we could encourage that in our curriculum. I feel like we would have a more, what do you call that? What is the word for it? We would have a more enveloped knowledge overall. You know what I'm trying to say? All of our knowledge would be more compacted, and thus we would just be smarter people. You see what I'm saying?
Huh.
In a concrete example, because it's funny. There's all kinds of like studies and instances of these phenomena. One of the most popularly substantiated instances of the way people learn changing their brains, literally, or the way people's brains work changing the way they learn, is that having pitch perfect, absolute pitch. That's the word for it. Having absolute pitch, which is where you can literally hear a note and you don't think of it as just a sound. You know, like, oh, that's an A, oh, that's a B, without having any sound before. Like if I just randomly start playing a car horn, you'd be like, oh, that's an A6 flat, right? It's like a weird like superpower type shit, right? Mm-hmm. It's more common in Chinese people. And the reason why that the researchers hypothesize is because Chinese is a tonal language. So they have to listen.
Damn, they're like deep elves. I'm sorry.
You're good, bro. You're good, bro. Because that's literally what it is. And it's like since it's a tonal language, they already have the ear to listen for that sort of distinction. You see what I mean? Mm-hmm. So when they do it in music as kids, it's just that much easier for them. And the faster that people are exposed to these kind of things, to this kind of thinking, the better they will be overall. Because when you're a kid, you have a level of neuroplasticity that, like, you know, us past our prime, you know, us early 20s, like,
blew out my brain knees.
Yeah. You and me will never be able to do that anymore.
Yeah,
we can never learn perfect pitch. You can't teach it to yourself unless you're a kid and your brain is just that ready to be changed, to be molded. It's still growing that much. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I can buy an auto-tune package.
For sure.
Yeah.
Or you can just learn relative pitch.
Fuck that. I'm not learning anything.
Yeah. But it always has me thinking, bro, like you were saying. Sort of what you were saying, how like we put another brain in someone's head. If we were able to make an adult's brain as plastile as a child's, like, then what? If you were able to give me, you know, a guy that can think and look and see, or you, a guy that's like got this kind of like historical context and understands things to that degree. If I gave you a fresh, clean brain, right, to just go learn things on, like, how much would that really change stuff for you?
I think I would have the ability to things for to stick more. I mean, I don't know if that would. Mm-hmm. That wouldn't change anything that I look into, but it would make things like there's books that I've read 2 years ago that I could not describe to you. Yeah. So I think having a high neuroplasticity.
Well, depending on how you were primed, you would be surprised, bro. You would be surprised.
Like, what do you mean?
Like, for instance, if we know you read a book, right, from a year ago, and I pull out that book, and I've done this with like plays I've been in, for instance. I pull out that book and I read a line from it and I say, what's the next line, Mark? You might surprise yourself and be able to remember it. Just off of that priming. You see what I'm saying?
Kautsky the bastard gets it wrong again.
See, you did. See? And it's crazy, bro. And like the more connections and associations you have in your brain, like the more novel thoughts you can create. You see what I mean?
First comes tragedy, the second time farce. I'm just quoting random lines from books I read.
Yeah, but you see what I'm saying? Like you can remember more. That's why people say your long-term memory is infinite. Like it literally just expanded past your own perception.
If you continue to say, I'm gonna treat this like you saying some white lives matter shit, keep your political things to yourself.
I have a political motive to use the word infinite.
Yes, I feel like it is ideologically motivated
to say infinite.
Yes.
Oh, holy Lord, dude!
It makes me extremely angry. The concept of people telling me we can measure the things just because it's like a trillion times a trillion is still a number.
Trillions and trillions.
Don't complicate this thing. Don't try to undermine my point by adding numbers to this, because all you're doing is just adding numbers.
No. What I'm saying is trillions and trillions times each other, and in any perceptible sequence, though.
You adding words. See, this is why you people can't understand the glory of God's light, because that's the only thing that's infinite.
Oh my Lord!
That's the only thing that's infinite.
Dude, I wish I had a piece of paper. I will show you what I mean. All right, look. I'm gonna try one more time to create this analogy for you. That was my German. You got something I can write on? I was just gonna draw something right quick.
There's some notebooks, some pads right there in the.
All right, hold on to this.
All right.
Where?
In the bookshelf, like on the right end of it, there's a bunch of.
Like this one?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So check this. This is what I mean. I don't wanna. So, neuron 1, neuron 2. These are connected. This is a connection. Both is counts as one. Is this one to this one? Is this one or this one? This one or this one? This one is this one. 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 And you notice how I keep making them because new neurons are formed on a daily basis. New connections are formed on a daily basis.
But do the pool of neurons grow?
It expands constantly. Yes, that's what I'm saying.
The number of neurons grow throughout your life.
Yes. It just keeps going, bro. It's just like, how many lines are on the page? As more and more. It's like a fucking aberration, bro. They just pop. And then this one connects to this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. It connects to all of them.
So not just they're making new connections, there's new neurons every day.
Yes.
Even when I'm like 50 years old, it's going to be new neurons.
Bro, we can just hard Google this.
Because I was under the impression you just got to a certain point.
You have a finite amount of
yeah. Like it takes like 70 years for them to produce a new set of them or something like that.
Bro, she want me to do this right now. I said next Thursday. Man, she know I'm not because I was earlier today. Never mind. My manager was talking about some meeting I gotta go to next week, not today. So, can your brain form new neurons?
Because if this is the case, I'm more sympathetic. I'll move to a neutral position on the infinite question.
Do hippocampal neurons continue to form in older adults, including those with MCI and Alzheimer's? Neurogenesis, the process of forming new brain cells, appears to continue in people well into old age, according to a recently published study funded in part by the NIA.
All right.
Neurogenesis, the process of forming new brain cells, appears to continue in people well into old age.
I'll stand moderated. Not wrong.
You literally form new connections. It's infinite because it continues to grow indefinitely.
Okay.
That's like the definition of infinite. You gotta give me that one.
But you die eventually. You ever thought about that one?
Oh.
Did you ever thought about that one?
Oh, it's always a catch-22 with you people.
What are you talking about? We be you people. What do you mean?
Let me just ask you something. Do you think that it's possible to exhaust God's grace? Because you really try hard to do so.
Only if you lose His favor. But if you're being a good boy,
Lord, bro. How could I lose His favor if He's the one that orchestrated all of my behaviors and thoughts?
See, this is you got all them infinite neurons. Don't even understand the fucking game.
Listen. While we're on the topic, bro, it is well documented in the Bible that God has authority and force over all things. There is no free will.
That's just the Bible's opinion. Well, there is no such thing as free will. You could be atheist and know that.
Okay. That's the case. Why is it appropriate for God to punish anybody for their actions?
Because you can at some points be a vessel for the devil to work through, or evil in general to work through. And He's not so much punishing you. He's punishing.
No, I'm the one burning in hell. I'm being punished.
You're the vessel for you. It's like in like zombie games, you get infected by like a zombie. We gotta shoot you. It's not your fault that you got infected, but
okay. And that's the way that God views things.
That's one way we could view.
It sounds very human to me.
No. This is a human,
like out of a book that a man wrote.
This is the human understanding of God's actions. You know, the truth is somewhere greater than our understanding.
Okay, so basically, we are limited by our human perception.
Yes, we're limited by our finite amount of neurons and neurological connections.
We're limited by the fact that we have mortality as a factor of our
Yes.
Yeah. But there you go. Concrete evidence. Neurogenesis.
Old Testament. Yeah. What?
Neurogenesis. Old Testament. Yeah, man. I think that about wraps us up, huh?
Yeah, it wraps us up. We got to wrap it up like my father should have done 23 years ago.
I'll drink to that.
All right.
Just like my alcoholic father. Glug.
Don't you also have I never confronted you on this, but we got to talk about your FBI connections. But we'll save that for a later time. We got to save it for a later time.